We tend to view our homes as a series of nested defenses. We lock the front door, set the alarm, and rely on the soft glow of a porch light to signal that the inside is protected. These boundaries, the property line, the fence, the front door, function as a social contract. They only provide security as long as the people on the outside agree to stop where the paint ends or the latch clicks. We can map the collapse of these defenses through 3 encounters, moving from the property edge, into the yard, and into a locked house. The first breach happens at the map's edge, where a predator uses the landscape to pin a victim. This is what happens when we assume the physical distance between ourselves and the rest of the world is enough to keep us hidden. An Oregon man drove out to the coast to meet a seller from a digital yard sale. The address led to a multi-million-dollar estate perched on a cliffside, with a sheer drop-off into the Pacific Ocean that served as a natural, inescapable wall behind the property. He arrived in a gray Ford truck, prepared to haul away a large sectional couch and a mountain bike he'd negotiated for earlier that day. But the scenery didn't match the inhabitants. Parked next to the massive modern house was a beat-up white sedan that looked completely out of place in a millionaire's driveway. A note on the front door instructed him to go around to the back. He walked to the rear deck and knocked on a sliding glass door, but the blinds were drawn tight, and no one answered his messages. After walking to the cliffside to take a photo, he turned back to the house and saw that every single window blind had been raised. A person was standing behind every pane of glass, perfectly still, staring at him with a wide, fixed smile. He fled the property and flagged down a neighbor who called the homeowner. The owner was shocked. He was out of town for the week and hadn't listed anything for sale. In this case, the predator didn't need to break in. They simply used an online listing to lure a stranger to a location where the geography did the work of cornering them. When the threat moves past the property line and into the yard, the nature of the danger changes. It shifts from an isolated trap to a violation of our private outdoor space. A young boy in Salem, Oregon wanted to mimic the camping trips his older brother took with the Boy Scouts. His parents agreed to let him set up a tent in the backyard for a night of sleepover practice. Safe within the fabric walls of the tent, the boy stayed awake late into the night, his face lit only by the screen of his Game Boy, while his older brother slept beside him. When he eventually peeked outside, he saw a man he didn't recognize, sitting in a chair by the family's fire pit. The stranger was sitting in total darkness, facing the tent, waiting for someone to come out. The boy hid back in his sleeping bag, listening. Seconds later, he heard the tent zipper slowly 𝗧𝗵𝗧, looking directly at him. His father chased the man off that night, but the encounter didn't end there. Weeks later, the same man approached the boy at his school fence, called him by his name, and asked if he remembered him. A backyard fence is a visual boundary, not a physical one. For this child, the property went from a private playground to a place where a stranger could sit and watch him through the walls of a tent. The final escalation is the breach of the house itself. In Pennsylvania, a homeowner discovered that even a locked sliding door is a thin defense when someone has been watching from the woods all day. While preparing for a pool party that afternoon, the host heard a distinct human cough coming from the privately owned woods behind his house. He called out, but the trees remained silent. After the party ended and the house was locked, he was awoken at 2 a.m. by a heavy splash in the deep end. He looked out his window to see a tall stranger calmly swimming laps in the pool. When the homeowner yelled from the second story, the man didn't run. He climbed out of the water and walked toward the house with a fast, purposeful stride. The homeowner then heard the downstairs sliding door open and shut. He stood in the dark as slow, wet footsteps began to ascend the wooden stairs, one creak at a time. The intruder reached the bedroom door and tried the handle. When it didn't turn, he knocked 3 times and said in a calm adult voice, "It's me, open the door." The man only fled after the homeowner shouted that the police were on the phone. When officers arrived, the only evidence left behind was a trail of water on the floor, leading from the back door to the bedroom. At this stage, safety is no longer about property lines or porch lights. It comes down to the few millimeters of metal in a bedroom door lock. In all 3 of these stories, the intruders had ample opportunity to take something. They walked past electronics, vehicles, and expensive furniture without touching a single item. None of these men were looking for a payout. Instead, they left the homes exactly as they found them, except for the fact that the people inside could no longer sleep without checking the windows. It's a reminder that our perimeters are only as strong as the people who choose to respect them, and some people are simply waiting for the lights to go out.